Okay, so I think we can definitely kick it off because we're super excited to hear more from you, Gil, today about this very, very important topic.
Is
We
that
just introduced ourselves. You wanted to say something, Gil?
no? Go ahead, please. I was
Okay,
wondering
but I guess
how much I look like that picture there.
uh,
Go
I'll
ahead.
let the audience decide. But Gil, I've seen you before, and it is you, and I'm excited to have you with me today on this session. But before we dive in, let's just do a quick housekeeping notes. Just to remind our audience, this session is being recorded, and yes, we will be sharing the recording via email with all registrants. I invite you to submit your questions in the Q&A tab. Our colleague Lilach is graciously helping us here in the background. Let's keep her busy, so please let your questions come in, keep them flowing. Wonderful. So, Gil, I think I'd love to start with a poll. But before I do that, I want to ask you, why are we here?
So Atera has released, and not general release yet, but shortly, an autonomous agent that is able to solve IT problems autonomously on its own on the devices that a user has, not just talk, but what's called agentic. And this is a revolution. We've actually been able to get at this point to solving 40% of all IT issues that come at a IT department autonomously using AI without actually the issue even coming to the IT person, while actually the end user has an excellent uh, interaction with AI, which is very passionate and can be funny, etc. So we're in the midst of a
Wonderful.
revolution, and we want to share this with everyone.
So autonomous IT, you said, eliminates 40% of the IT workload, and you're going to share with us today trends, drivers of change, and how this innovation is critical and why it's critical to the audience. So let's maybe understand a little bit about our audience, the people joining us today. If you allow me, I want to share a poll and just get a sense of how and if you are using AI tools today in your IT operations. So I've just launched a poll. I invite you to please don't be shy. Let us know. Are you using any AI tools or assistants in your IT operations today? Okay, Gil, I see some answers coming in. Um, We'll share those in a little bit. So we're interested to know if you're here because you're currently using AI and looking at what's next, or if you are taking an interest to understand what does it really mean, autonomous IT, and how does that impact your daily operations. So Gil, allow me to share here. Let's take a
Sure.
look at some of the results. I see that some of our audience is a little shy to respond. Interesting. So regularly, occasionally, that is surprisingly positive. But I see
So
quite a few here that are not interested. No, but I am interested. Sorry.
so first of all, 70% are using AI. Some half of that number regular and half of that occasionally. So for 70% of the people here, using AI for work and IT work is not something they have never done before.
So I see that in the chat, some are writing that we're trialing various AI chats. So Gil, based on this, obviously, I wonder if it surprises you, the results that you just saw. But I really want to talk about, are we ready for AI? And I want to step back and ask you, within Atera's journey, and we'll show that in a little bit, what has Atera discovered in IT that has led us to the path that we need to look at AI as an enabler, force multiplier? What have you been hearing from the market?
So we know since IT has existed, that there's a lot of work that goes into IT support and IT maintenance that is very mundane in its behavior. It's repetitive. It doesn't actually move us forward, but rather only keeps us where we are. There's a lot of pain around that. There's a lot of pain that comes from the people that do it, employees that churn and change jobs or move on. The service we're able to give to our users or customers, depending if we're an MSP or an internal department. We've been working on this for quite a while, and we've been able, actually, we say 40% of all the load, but actually it's 100% of the stuff that IT departments really don't want to deal with, that are a pain, are dragging them down, are not allowing them the time to do the important things. And using technology that we started working on in 2022 already. Sorry, we started working on it in 2014, and we broke through in 2022. We are able to eliminate that. So we started this journey years ago. Actually, our first patents in the field are in 2017. From 2017. The big thing happened for us mid-2022 when Microsoft came to us and offered us to start working with OpenAI. That was 6 months before ChatGPT became public. And we've been working on this very hard for the last 3 years. And we've been able to achieve a system that is able to solve 40% of any load that comes at an IT department, which is a huge change in how IT departments work. It has guardrails, it's secure, it can't do any damage, and it keeps privacy in this cooperation that we have with Microsoft, and that's one of the reasons I'm in Seattle now, is to maintain and make sure that security and privacy, etc., are maintained within the ability of the AI to do this magic. And it is magical.
Definitely magical. And Gil, based on what you're showing here in Atera's AI journey, we can definitely see that AI has evolved within Atera's platform, and that this steady progression shows AI is becoming not just an assistant, but a necessity in IT operations. So you talked about the fact that from our existing install base, from working with more than 13,000 customers that use our platform, we recognized certain pains. And those pains, you said, repetitive, mundane, same problems that could easily be eliminated. But we hear AI now across the board. Every company saying we've got AI. AI seems to be a broad term. And today I want to help and get a better understanding now that Atera has progressed from generative AI into the realm of agentic AI. Can you help me understand how we define agentic AI and how it's different from generative?
Yes, sure. The one thing that I do want to talk about regarding the agentic part, the autonomous part, is that we need to think also about the user. And the end user, when he opens a ticket, he or she opens a ticket, they can wait for hours for a first response and more hours until the issue is solved. With agentic, it's 24/7 there. It answers immediately. So when we looked at the reasons why, there's the reasons for the IT department, but there's a huge impact on end users. Let's talk technology for a minute. There's what the majority of people use today is conversational AI. So it's ChatGPT or Perplexity or one of those that you write something or say something and it writes or says something back. If we look into the IT area world, if you have a problem, it'll give you a long list of options that you can do to try to solve that problem on your own. Agentic AI, as opposed to conversational AI, is a whole different system, different technology. And the difference is that it actually operates autonomously. and it is able to remember history, remember what happened before, remember what worked and didn't work. When it sees a problem, it is able to plan a path to how to check and diagnose it and then to solve it. And it works. There's many agents in the Atera agentic, and in general, there's all kinds of types of agents. And specifically in Atera's architecture, there's many types of agents that do all kinds of things. You can think of an agent as a person, and then when you plan, you can then think of it. What is this agent supposed to do? But the core of an agent is its ability to be autonomous, to make decisions on its own, and to and even be creative in how it does things. I want to clarify the 40%. 40% are things that the AI, that Atera's autopilot, if it is not successful, it doesn't cause any damage, and the only thing it does is escalate it to a human IT professional. So it is able actually theoretically to solve much more. And when it escalates it with actual buttons on what should be the solution. But 40%, the guardrails are, if it isn't successful, it can never cause any damage.
Great. And I do want to say that, for this audience, if you've been following Atera's webinars, and, we've been really on this journey with AI, and starting off with AI Copilot, which is our generative AI assistant in that sense, that really is there to help the technician, and it operates based on what the technician requests and requires. And now we're moving into this new realm of the agentic, where we're actually delegating this responsibility, but as you said, with the guardrails. And a lot of the times I hear, okay, so I've been doing automation all this time. Yes, automation, AI. How is automation not the same as what we're talking here in agentic AI?
Let's take an example that would kind of depict the difference between AI, artificial intelligence that has reasoning and creativity and can think ahead and plan, versus automation, which is a very strict rule-based algorithm that says, if this happens, do this, if that happens, do that. But it's very rigorous, very strict. It doesn't think, it just is able to react to very set thresholds. I'll give you an example. An employee can say, we'll actually show one, a small thing. My Bluetooth earphone isn't connecting. That's it. That's all he needs to say. The AI is aware. It understands who he is. It is able to understand what is the issue. It understands what should be done to solve it, and then it solves it using Atera's agent on the computer, on the endpoint, etc. So it thinks, understands, and solves. And where automation is something very rigid. If this happens, that happens. That's it. And I think that when we talk about agentic, it gets one thing that is very important to know about agentic. It gets smarter and smarter as time goes by, and the agents teach one another. So, for example, if one of our 13,000 customers has an issue that the agent will solve, all other customers, if they have the same problem, it's now learned how to solve that. So it's very, very different than automations, which is actually, I can say that automation is really like a horse and carriage, where we are now talking about, I'm going to say a Tesla or some other car. Yeah. A very, very good car. Yeah.
Yeah. But Gil, let's just be clear here. You did mention that, it learns, but obviously it's within a private environment, and
Yes.
it's not transferring. So what it is it's understanding the context and leveraging that knowledge. It's not looking into any private or specific account data and leveraging that across as part of the knowledge.
Correct.
Okay, and we'll talk a little bit more about the privacy and responsible AI.
Yeah, maybe I can add a word to that, Muna.
Please.
When you use autopilot or copilot for that matter, you get your own specific database. The data doesn't go to the LLM or to anybody else to teach it, but rather your own instance of the system learns from that data, but it doesn't go outside. It stays private. Nobody sees it. Nobody gets it. Neither other Atera customers or Microsoft or OpenAI or any other of the LLMs we use.
Thank you, Gil, for clarifying that, and it's important. I'm showing you a slide with some industry stats. Obviously, business interest is strong, right? We're seeing across the industry, different vendors are all talking about the fact that they now support agentic AI and they have AI agents across across their platforms. And really, industry leaders are taking notice. We see here that Boston Consulting Group did some research. And based on their research, they've highlighted that 67% of the executives that they surveyed are considering today autonomous agents as part of their AI transformation, whereas 2/3 already, before they even really have seen the technology at work, are already in the mindset that they need to move to the next step and consider. Deloitte actually predicts that this year, 2025, a quarter of the companies that use generative AI will actually launch some kind of agentic pilot or proof of concept by 2027. So you're actually looking at half of the companies that are actually today understanding and recognizing that they need to do this shift and start to deploy such solutions. So tell us a little bit about what Atera is doing in this realm.
So first of all, we're seeing huge adoption of AI. Agentic AI or autonomous AI is very new. There's very few implementations of it so far, if at all. We started from day one only working on agentic AI or autonomous AI. That's basically what our goal was from day one. Starting in 2012 or 2014 when it picked up a bit. So that first of all is our target from day one. What we're also seeing the level of adoption being very, very high. So people are using it and are trying AI in general. One of the most significant things we're seeing, the world is seeing, is that the growth and usage of ChatGPT. The current is 400 million active weekly users. There has never been an application in history that grew that fast. And what it means for us as IT people is that both our technicians, our employees, but also our customers, our users, they're exposed to it. They know that AI works, that it's intelligent, that it's compassionate, that it gives good results. So when they will meet different types of applications of AI, because of their experiences with ChatGPT, they will be very open to using it. And this is something that never happened before, that you have this huge growth on the personal side, but you know that when you bring it into the business, they will meet together, these two vectors. And people are much more open to use it. I'll just one more word, Muna, on this. There is an interesting phenomenon that needs to be learned or experienced, is as opposed to software, AI isn't linear. It's not when you press a button, this happens. So maybe you talk to it and you need to guide it a little bit to get to the exact result you want. The expectation of people is if it's software and I ask it a question, I'll immediately get or ask it a question or to do something, I'll immediately get the exact specific answer I want. But this is intelligence. This is like a human. It's like our IT guy. So maybe I don't get exactly what I want in the first interaction. I have to guide it a bit. So people are already experiencing this on the personal level. 400 million weekly active users. Beginning of 24 last year, there was 80 million, 180 million to 400. These are crazy numbers.
Wow, and if we zoom into the Atera, right? So we are seeing, as you just talked about, a lot of companies bringing in AI, AI as a secondary component, sometimes not fully integrated, used not fully in context. But when we look into the AI platform within Atera, it's definitely infused within our core, and I see here a comment as we're speaking from Anthony, who's an Atera user, that's sharing that Copilot gives mixed results, right? Atera's AI Copilot, which we'll talk about briefly, one of our AI agents, gives mixed results. Sometimes it's on par and it's great, and sometimes it needs a little bit more tweaking. So to what you just mentioned, I'd love if you can elaborate on why it operates like that and how is it different within leveraging our agent and within Atera.
So think for a minute on when you develop old type of software, it's an algorithm that says if this, then that, and it's linear. And if that doesn't happen exactly, it's a bug. Here, it's very different. Let's take another example. A user says my computer is slow. That's all he says. There is no need for more information, just like he would say it to an IT person, professional that he opened a ticket with. My computer is slow from the morning. Now, the AI is a reasoning engine, so it understands, but it starts doing checks. It starts autonomously doing these checks. It'll check the computer and the memory, and it'll take that data in and say, okay, if this is what I'm seeing here, let me check the network. And if the network is fine, maybe I'll check the switch and the router and the internet and maybe the software, and maybe it gets a result and it goes back and checks some other things. It's thinking just like a person would. And just like when we come to solve a problem, don't always go exactly to the solution, but we try something, and if that doesn't work, we try something else until we solve it. It behaves the same. And that's what makes it so powerful also, that it's enough that you say my computer is slow, and it will solve the problem. It will solve it. And with automations or old type of software development, it's if this then that, and that's it, you're done. There is no more depth than that there. So this is a little bit something that people are learning while using with AI, that you need to interact with it a bit, just like you would with a person.
So, Anthony, if I'm to summarize what Gil is saying, AI needs you to help it understand and adapt to what you're expecting it. And the more you feed it information, the more it understands your contextual environment, the better results you're going to see. So I recommend you keep trying, and it gets, right now, this is the worst version you're going to get. It keeps getting better the more you interact with your Copilot. You'll definitely see contextual and on par results. And that gets me to the core of today. Go ahead, Gil.
Yeah, so just in terms of Atera is an artificial intelligence company. So our core technology today, our efforts, our know-how is artificial intelligence. We have a system that is comprised of a lot of agents, all kinds of agents that do all kinds of things. When you look, talking about the autopilot, it is enough in terms of information to give it something very simple, like my computer is slow or my printer isn't printing. The user doesn't have to do any more than that. In that case, there is no need for him to add more information. The agents go and collect information, and the central mechanism here iterates on that information until it comes to the right solution. Now, this architecture has two interfaces. One is the Copilot interface, which is sophisticated, it's open, it's technical, It can go to all kinds of directions. It doesn't do things. It's generative. So it'll communicate with you, but you'll do the work at the end. It'll save you a lot of time. It'll uplift your employees. It'll allow them to do things they never did before, but it doesn't do it autonomously. And that's an agent in itself, an agent that uses all this work and communicates and works as a partner to an IT professional. And then the other agent, which is the autopilot, it interacts with end users. They don't have technical knowledge. We can't ask them to do things. We can't really ask them for more information. So there, it's very, very knowledgeable, very accurate in how it behaves, and it doesn't require more than what a non-technical person would say to diagnose or explain what the problems he has are for it to actually act autonomously.
So, Gil, our AI agents today in Atera, from what I understand, assist across multiple domains, as you just explained. And this multi-agentic AI architecture basically enables IT teams to, if you like, automate at scale and reduce what you just mentioned earlier, the 40% of ticket load. And I think what better way to explain it than to actually show some real world examples. I know you asked me to prep some example here that can demonstrate the agentic AI capabilities. And just to frame, because I do see a lot of existing Atera users, we are not talking in these examples about the co-pilot that you are using, but rather the autonomous agent, the autopilot. So, Gil, maybe we can start off with the first use case.
1 second, before you go into it, one comment for the forum and everybody here. You'll see, look at the text that the person writes, just get the impression on how simple it is and how non-technical on one hand. The other hand, it's a bit complex to understand what's going on sometimes, so we'll explain afterwards exactly what the AI, the autopilot did. So if it's not understood in the first run where you see it, we'll give some explanations.
Perfect. So in the first use case that I'm going to show you here, we're going to talk about a Bluetooth fix. So seeing how the autopilot detects and resolves connectivity issues. And just to point your attention to what we're seeing, there's two sides to the video before it starts. There's what the actual end user is interacting with in the agent. And we've put to the right of the screen what's happening in the background, basically happening autonomously, but just to demonstrate what an IT assistant or personnel would have done to support this use case. So as Gil said, there is no voice over it, but we will try to explain. And okay.
All right, I'll explain maybe for a minute. So we have a person that can't. This is the real thing. The Bluetooth headphone isn't connecting, and all he says it's not connecting. Now the agent starts running all kinds of tests and understands that he needs to reset on his computer some of the Bluetooth connectors there. And it does it. That's it. There is no dialogue here. There's no, and then it at the end says, try it. And the person tries it, it's connected, and it's gone. I want to kind of share with you something that I'm experiencing. In the old world, you had automations and you had deflection. So there were automations that would deflect this issue from coming to the IT team. This issue you couldn't do like that, but any issue that it could, it is very limited still. But deflection is not the right word here. This is amazing service, amazing support. It's there 24/7. It answers the second you open the ticket, and it solves it within 2 minutes. It's far from deflection. It's giving excellent service that actually nobody without this can give. Muna.
So let's talk about the second example here. And I see that our audience is yet to be convinced. So what are we going to show now? Again, from Atera data, I recall 25% of tickets opened on a daily basis are related to password and connectivity issues. And what we recognize there is there's so much potential to take these issues off IT's plate. Imagine a day where you never had to reset a password or have Muna come to your desk and say, oh no, I'm locked out again. But obviously I'm locked out and I can't reach to IT because the only way I can access IT is through the platform that I have to log into my computer to access. Everybody's drama, right? And in this world of autonomous IT, what we're saying is we're taking this off your plate. You have an autonomous AI agent that an end user can interact with. And in this scenario, you'll see he doesn't have to interact with. The fact that it's connected to your domain will automatically notify a user through a password reset on their phone. Let's show that example. So let me get to that video. We're showing the password reset that happens autonomously. That's very okay. So
We're
Gil, do
back.
you want to walk us through?
Yeah, we probably need a new platform if we can't talk during the demo, but yeah. So first of all, with reset passwords, it's a 2FA mechanism, so it's secure. It identifies on its own actually that that the person is having trouble, and it sends them an SMS or different similar type of message saying, "I see you're having a problem with the password. Do you need help?" And if he says yes, it'll reset the password, give him a new one. He logs in and changes it to the permanent one, etc. Without, first of all, again, the experience for the end user is immediate support, even before he opens the ticket, immediate resolution of the problem, and it never comes to your desk anymore. That's it, gone. I'm going to say this again at the end, but we are open to customers that want to start working with Autopilot. We'll give you an email later on to send. We're not opening it for everybody yet, so we're rolling it out. But there's a lot of customers that are already using Autopilot, and if you want to join the revolution, well, you can send it to my private email, which is Gil@Atera, and we'll take it from there.
Amazing. Gil, given that they can't hear, should we show just one more example of a common use case? and then we'll go into what we're seeing as some of the
Sure.
values. I want to share one more use case, reminding the audience, I apologize, we can't talk over for some reason, but I want to show a very, very common use case where you have, we all work in this corporate environment. We have approved software that we can use, but many times either we don't have access to that software and we reach out to sales, to support for help, or most often we don't know that we don't have that software installed, and it captures us either when we're trying to open a file and then recognize we don't have that software, or we're going to a meeting and realize we can't access the meeting because we don't have that software installed. So this example shows you how the autonomous IT agent actually recognizes before you even open a ticket and can then solve an issue autonomously. So let's share that last option, and forgive us if you don't hear the sound.
I see you are trying to connect to a WebEx session, but you don't currently have WebEx client installed on your PC. I can assist you with installing the Cisco WebEx Meetings client on your PC. This software will enable you to connect to WebEx sessions smoothly. Please confirm if you would like to proceed with the installation, and I will provide the necessary steps for you to follow. I'm on it. I sent the action request to your devices. It should run within a few seconds. Please let me know if it's solving your issue, and I can close the ticket.
Great. I think I heard sound there, Gil.
I heard the sound of the video that was recorded, pre-recorded, yeah. So here I'll just give a quick explanation. First of all, just like with a password, here the AI is able to understand that there's a meeting. It's using WebEx because it's in the invitation, and it knows that you don't have WebEx installed on your computer, which can cause problems because if you're in a larger organization, you might not be able to use WebEx through the browser because of ports being blocked, etc. So it preempts, first of all, and by preempting, it actually ensures that this meeting will happen. I hope there's no investment bankers on this call, but investment bankers still use WebEx. And if you're not ready, your meeting will not happen. This actually takes away or eliminates another type of issue that can come to IT departments on one hand. And on the other hand, for the end user, it's an amazing service level because the call happens, they're prepared, the software is installed. It can do, by the way, the same thing if there's software that you're missing and it's allowed to install it, which is predefined, or if there's a problem with software and it knows how to, if it thinks that the solution is to uninstall and install, it'll do that. We're not going to show another example, but I'll tell of another case that is very similar but slightly different. We said the system learns. So we've had a case where when you replace a firewall or upgrade a firewall, you also need to upgrade the VPN client. Now, we've seen a customer of ours that did this upgrade but didn't realize he needs to upgrade the VPN client. And what happened, which is in a sense a case that didn't exist prior to this issue, his user is starting to open tickets saying, I can't connect with a VPN. And what the IT department did was uninstall and install a new client. But the AI learned that. And then it pops up a message and says to the user, look, you've 3-4 times already uninstalled and installed this VPN software. Do you want me to do it for you? And the next time it happens and somebody asks for this, and then you designated it as an allowed software to uninstall and install. And the next time an end user has this problem, it'll do it on its own and won't involve the IT department itself. The key thing here is that we are enabling IT departments to take care of what matters. We take away all the mundane, repetitive things, and we create a whole different experience, user experience for the end user. There's a list here of all kinds of things that that Autopilot can do, from access to files to various cloud operations. We saw the reset password, renewing IPs, etc. The important thing to remember is that the end user's experience is a fantastic one. It's always passionate. It's always patient. It can throw a joke here and there, say a joke sometimes. We had a case with one of our customers that somebody wanted to change. She wrote that she has a meeting this week with her colleague, gave the name of the colleague, but the colleague is sick, and she would like the Autopilot to move the meeting to next week. And the answer she got was, "Don't worry, I'll do it just now. But the important thing is that your colleague feels better." And so the emotional part, the EQ, is also amazing here.
Improving for sure. And I think I see Anthony here is overwhelmed with what he just saw, and it's exciting. I want to clarify two of the use cases that we showed. The autonomous IT needed no prompting, as Gil said. It recognized the issue based on knowledge that you fed it, understood what the issue is, and prompted a resolution. In the first use case we showed, go ahead,
no,
Gil.
you don't feed it, Muna. It's connected. It's aware. You don't need to feed it. It's just to be accurate. I know that the technical terms are, everything is very new, but it's aware and it does its own tests. It does it on its own, autonomously.
Thank you for that correction. And in the first use case that we showed with the Bluetooth, yes, the end user spoke to the autopilot and raised the issue, and from there, obviously, the autopilot helped resolve the Bluetooth connectivity. And I think to the key question that a lot of organizations ask themselves, Gil, is how much trust do I put in this? And I think here I want to understand from this audience, what are they seeing as the biggest obstacle holding them back from implementing AI or autonomous IT in their IT environment. So let's see here if this audience wants to share. I know that a lot have said, okay, so I see that there's a few other reasons that are being typed into the chat. And we'll touch upon those as well. Okay, let's share anyway. But I see a few people typing in the chat as well, Gil. The fear of it taking over their jobs, lack of understanding of the technology, trust. Okay, interesting. Security, compliance, and transparency.
Yeah, which is natural. So let's talk actually about some of the things. So first of all, security, compliance, privacy. This is the key reason that we have developed everything together with Microsoft on Microsoft's platform. So it's enterprise grade in terms of security, privacy, guardrails, hallucinations that have disappeared, etc. If you look at Microsoft's strategy as a company, the strategy is to make AI enterprise and business ready, as opposed to other companies that their targets for AI or for the consumer, and these are things that are less important for them. And it's maybe the key component of what we're doing is around security, privacy, and we can show, we should actually probably do a webinar just on that. There was a comment here that it's scary that it can take our jobs. There is an interesting report done by, or research done by Harvard that we can share later on, that shows the huge increase in productivity of a person working hand in hand with AI versus a person without AI. And what's most surprising of this research is that a single person together with AI almost has the same productivity as a team working with AI. So one person doesn't actually, once he's working with AI, it's like he's working with a team. And adding more people to work with him actually doesn't increase his productivity. I think the message here is that the world is not going to AI replacing people. It's going to, and this is agentic, the agentic part, agents. It's people working together with agents. It's like having your own team. Specifically in our world, there is a huge lack of IT professionals. I am not seeing any risk there to our jobs, only if we don't adapt AI. If we don't adapt AI and we're an MSP and the MSP next to us is going to adapt it, suddenly the level of service we're going to be giving is just not comparable anymore. And if it's an internal IT department or internal organization, your competitor is going to add AI, and the efficiency of the employees, the cost of doing IT work, the ability to do projects that you couldn't do before changes, and you're going to fall back behind. So I don't think that we don't see that anywhere, that it's taking away people's jobs. It's just actually ensuring them in a sense.
And Gil, to that point, there is a question here about ROI. How do I prove the solution's ROI, or how do I get, see, I can't see the question for some reason. It's blocked on my screen. Lilach, if you can help push it forward. But something to the point of analytics and understanding, what did the AI solve? What was AI assisted? Here we go.
I can answer that. So we are releasing shortly a tab within Atera that will give you two graphs. One is the things that the AI solved autonomously and how much time it saved you by doing that autonomously. And the other is a graph that shows how much time the AI solved for you when it wasn't autonomous, but it was assisted. So it was either the ticket was escalated, or you could close the ticket by using Copilot, and it saved 50% of the time, 30% of the time. We also calculate that, and you'll see these very nice graphs that will actually give you that data, both what's autonomous, you never saw it, and what's assisted, and it shortened the time that this ticket should have taken you, and then it took much less.
Amazing. So the ROI focused on time savings, obviously in some areas, the cost savings. And I would add to that once the AI has an understanding of, what are some of the repetitive tickets that are coming in, or the repetitive, the repeating issues, our dashboard will also make suggestions for improvements, whether it's through a workflow or employing a script that the AI can create in order for those issues not to arise again. So a lot of insights on that dashboard. And if you want to have early access, reach out to us and we see how we can open that for you as well. Another question coming in. Yes, Lilach, if you can help us here. So Gil, there's a question here about if it keeps track or counts and stats of the issues resolved to report on it. So I think we just answered that, to identify the root cause of the issue. Yeah, so go ahead.
Yeah, so there is a mechanism that I described a little bit before that will track things like this, and we'll actually initiate a discussion with you. It's new, so I'm not sure that everybody's seen it if you were using Copilot as well. But it'll initiate a dialogue with you and say, look, I've seen this. Here's what I'm seeing. Here's the reason I think it's happening. Do you want to handle it yourself? Here's a script. Or do you want me to handle it if it's within its guardrails? So there is a self-learning mechanism that it looks at these things, it runs all kinds of tests, and it accesses the data of your network, keeps it private. And one thing to remember is that an LLM has billions of data points, so it also accesses that information, and then it gives you an explanation to the problem, diagnostics, and a suggested solution. It does all of that.
Okay, and again, I think you answered this, but exactly. How much autonomy do we give the autonomous IT?
So Atera has two products. One is Copilot, which is based on the same agentic architecture, but it doesn't do anything autonomously. Everything is with a man in the middle or a person in the middle. Everything is with you, and it suggests, it writes, but you make the ultimate decision if to do that, not to do that, press the button and run the script or not. That's one product. The other product is the autopilot, which is autonomous. It is able to solve 40% of the load that comes at an IT department. You can also, from that, easily calculate what ultimately it'll save you in terms of work and free up people to do more important things. There, the 40% are things that have been carefully chosen. And whatever it does, if it succeeds, fantastic. And it doesn't succeed, it doesn't cause harm. And then it escalates the ticket to an IT professional. And when it escalates it, it does the same thing I described before. It's a summary. It shows all the tests it's ran. So you can exactly see what kind of tests it ran, what it thinks is the solution. It'll say it'll explain it, and it creates a button. And behind the button is the script to run that solution. And basically, you can read through it and say, okay, this is not, it didn't do it autonomously because it's outside of the guardrails, but I, as an IT professional, look at this, see what the solution is, and say, that's the right thing to do. You click the button. Suddenly, something that could have taken half an hour or 40 minutes, because you have to run this test and that test, and then think about it, and then go into Azure ID and run something, etc., takes you 2 minutes just to read through it, say, this is the right thing, and click a button.
Okay, there's a question here about, okay. Thank you, Lilach. The place of integrations. I don't know, Gil, if you know specifically based on the integration here, but maybe we can talk generally about what integrations we do have and how our team can support in professional services in certain areas.
Sure. So the installation of autopilot has two actually phases. And the second phase is a phase where you can integrate autopilot into all kinds of software that you want. Some of them we have already out of the box. Some of them require a little bit of work. And then it can operate there. So Keeper was one question here, but I'll give you another one is that we are already doing is that employees ask for a specific email to be released from a spam blocker. Now it's spam, it's not a virus. They know it's there. They know who to say it is. So it's the whole loop is secure. And this is not out of the box autopilot. It needs to be connected, but it has the ability to connect to all kinds of things. And in this case, when that kind of ticket is open, the autopilot in this company just solves it. It doesn't go to the IT department anymore. They don't have to go into the software and ask them, is it this email, that email, and release it. All that work that is gone.
So I think a final question, because we're almost out of time, and we'll be happy to address. Can you hear me?
So, yeah, we hear you. We have 2 minutes. I do want. Now we don't hear you. I do want to say that to the forum here that send me an email if you want to join the program. It's Gil, Gil, at Atera.com. And we will try to add you as soon as possible. There is a waiting list there, but we are adding more and more people, more and more companies. We are in our last 2 minutes, right? So is there more questions, guys, that are interesting here for the forum? Yes, okay, this is a great question. There, you can disable all kinds of, so there's this list of things that Autopilot does autonomously, and you can disable any one of them. You don't want it to do it autonomously, and then it will do it, somebody asked here, then it will do it like an FSD. Then it will do it with, you'll be in the middle. It'll go to you first, but with everything ready. The tests that it ran, the diagnostics, the suggestion for solution, and that button that you need to just to press. It goes the same as with the password. I'll add to the password issue. You need to configure it because you need to add the phone number of your employees or the users for it to be able to do the 2FA, etc. It's all under. You can control all of these things, exactly what it does autonomously and what it doesn't. There's a question here. Autopilot is regarding the cost of Autopilot, Lilach, if you want to share it by Davy. It is important to point out that Autopilot is priced differently than the platform itself. In essence, it's like hiring a person, but for much less, a fraction of the cost. At this phase, whoever joins now is getting an early bird discount, which is a very big discount on what it's eventually going to be. And we have 10 seconds to go, Muna. I think Muna's gone. So guys, we have 9 seconds to go, and thank you everyone. Whoever wants to join, send me an email, and we're going to do much more of these. Thank you all.